book canon, so let's start the show. Joe and Jeff got the juice, keep the show on fire. Josh brings the news straight from the source with no desire. The judge, our wise advisor, keeps us in line. Fresh from the comic shop, showcase your design. Ask Joe the comic book ninja for insights to explore. The popcorn gets to know you from straight to the core. I guess I have to think, cause we make some freaks. So much more to discover, this show's a hit. Anything can happen on a comic book canon. Anything can happen on a comic book canon. Anything can happen on a comic book canon. So let's start.
Welcome. We are back on another Sunday here, the weekend of Elite Expo 11. We have a review on that, but as you can see, Joe is not here because he is in transit. He is leaving from the convention right now, driving back down to Philadelphia from New York, but we do have a review. We will see his beautiful face in that review. I promise you that. But what are we going to do without a co-host? Well, next man up is our motto here. So please welcome the man, the myth, the legend, the guy that does the news, the editor of the news editor of the canon, Josh's Comics 01. Josh, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing all right. How are we doing tonight, Jeff?
I'm great. You know, it was a nice convention. A lot of scrambling going around when you go to these things, right? It's hectic there. It's hectic when you get back because you're doing the number one show on YouTube. You got to prepare for. And usually during the week, I'm trying to make things happen, produce these packages, produce all the everything that we have going on. It was just a lot. So with that said, I do have to say, you don't know this. I didn't tell you pre-show here, but we will not have a pick of the week running live during the show, but we will have a pick of the week on Tuesday. So be on the lookout for that on all our socials, especially the YouTube. So before we get started, how was your weekend? How has your weekend been so far?
So far, so good. Slept in, relaxed a little bit, and did some organizing around the apartment. So, I
did get a chance to see Heroes Reborn, by the way, in person. It was nice to shake his hand as well. And look at this guy. Hang on to your butts for sure, because we're about to get into it. Wait, Jeff, 100% focused on the package. That's an innuendo right there, if I ever heard one. So we'll move on to Josh. You ready to do this? Are you ready to do your thing?
We do the thing all the time. So let's do the thing right now for
Josh delivers the news and rumors.
Josh, we're getting into the news. And you know what's interesting? I don't know, I feel like the past 6 weeks have been insane news. So it's a bit tame this week. However, I want you all to hang on tight because we will have a Daredevil review. The first 2 episodes, spoiler free. We promise you that. So let us know in your comments what you think about Daredevil. We'll talk about it ourselves and we'll have a bit of a conversation, shall we? But that's not the first news story we have. We have actually a very large DC news story. Very large indeed, Joshua.
Yeah, and this is actually very good news in my opinion, depending on who you are. And so Batman issue number 158, which is the continuation of Hush, has already had over 400,000 pre-ordered copies. I'm assuming that's that's a lot of copies of that book. And you know what? It comes out March 26th. We still got 2.5 weeks to go until that book happens. Currently, as it happens right now, I believe there is 26 different variants. I'm sure more will be added as the next week or two comes up. I do want to say, though, there is a very cool variant signed and limited to 1,000 by Jim Lee himself. So might be something worth checking out. But I'm excited for this storyline. And, I think over 400,000 other people would agree with me.
Well, it's not going to be 400,000 exactly. There's probably a lot of people hoarding those issues, thinking that they're going to put their kids through college because it's going to be a big book. 400,000 copies sold for what they're recording right now, and that's again pre-sale. That's a hit, okay? Especially this day and age, it's a hit. And that's important to the industry. You need a boost like that. You need sales. We want to see the physical copies of comics continues to succeed. There have been a lot of challenges in the way of that with the industry. So again, this is really good news if you're a retailer, for sure. I hope it puts another boost into the industry, as we'll see this year again was another highly anticipated project, Marvel and DC, the crossover. So Josh, that's something you reported last week, and I think that's another hit for the industry as well. There's going to be a ton of people that are going to be interested in that. But before we move on to the next story, please let us know what you think about Batman Hush 2. If you're going to be getting yourselves a copy, I will. I know Josh for sure will. Josh will probably hit up some of those 26 odd variants. Is that what you said?
Yeah, right now there's about 26. About a month ago, there was literally less than 7. So they're definitely jumping up with variants here.
Jesus. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of variants. But yeah, again, this is the day and age we live in. We talked about this again last week as well. The variants are good for the industry too. Before we move on to the next story, please like and subscribe if you have not done so already. A little MCU news. Again, we're going to get into the Daredevil review at the end of the news. But Joshua, you have some news on Daredevil season 2. What do you got?
Yeah, so leading up, beginning of this week or last week, I guess you could say, Daredevil came out on Tuesday. There was tons of interviews with the cast and crew, and potentially we got some great news, honestly, and that is that both Karen and Froggy will return for season 2. I'm very happy about that due to the simple fact that they originally weren't in the original script. And we see that, and we'll talk about that in our review, actually. But I'm glad they're course correcting because, let's be honest, without Karen and without Froggy, I think the show kind of loses its heart. It loses its friendship, its love, So I'm just happy to hear that. Even though we may not see them maybe in the last few episodes, we'll at least be having them back, hopefully full time next season.
Yeah, that's again more great news. It's so crazy to think that they had a few weeks of production before they shut it down. We're like, this is not working.
They did more than a few weeks. They did I think 3 or 4 months of shooting.
Oh God.
And they ripped it all up. Yeah.
Well, again, we're gonna get into our review, but I'll give you a hint as to where I'm leaning. It was a good decision. I don't know what the iteration was before that. I know it wasn't falling under the Netflix.
We'll talk about that if you want. I got some inside news.
Okay, we'll talk about that in the review. We'll move on there. But let us know your thoughts on this news story right here. No spoilers. No spoilers. All right, this is a very serious news story in the DCU, Joshua, and I'm really glad you picked up on this because this is something that could affect the whole industry, not only comic books, but entertainment in general. Please.
So, some of you may know Jason Alexander from Seinfeld. He's a great-looking actor. He kind of looks like Joe, honestly. Give the guy a bit of a beard and some glasses.
You just said Joe looks like Costanza. I love it. Please. By the way, I need to mark this right now and make sure we get that out to all the socials. Say it one more time for me. Joe looks like George Costanza, correct?
That Jason Alexander and Joe are potentially brothers. Identical twins.
Okay, so basically you're saying Joe is George Costanza. I love it. Move on.
So, over the week, the Electric State, which is by the Russo brothers who are coming back for Avengers, was doing a lot of interviews, and Jason is actually a cast member in their current film. And I caught on to this clip, and it's very interesting. So he was asked by a reporter, hey, if they asked you to show up in the Avenger films to have a supporting role, what character would you like to be? Well, Jason immediately said, I wouldn't want to do Marvel. I want to join DC. And then he said he would like to play Egghead for DC's Batman. So if you don't know, Egghead is a comical, just literally a dude like has an egg head. He was in the Batman 1966 series. I can't remember that actor's name. Vincent somebody. Vincent
Not
Pierce,
Vincent Price, right?
Yeah. I think it was Price. I think
Vincent
he
Price played
I
Egghead.
think
I need to.
I believe he played Egghead in the 1966 Adam West show, if I'm not mistaken. You can look that up, maybe confirm it, Jeff. But what was also interesting to note
Oh my
is
God, you're
was I
right.
right? Yes. So what's even better about that is she asked him, "Hey, why would you want to do that?" And he gave a little smirk. And then the current rumor for the director for Brave and the Bold, Andy Mashett, if I pronounce his last name right, he was actually at the premiere as well. And she asked if Jason would talk to him, and he kind of went like, maybe. So I'm not trying to say that Egghead will be, Batman's big bad villain in the DCU. But you know what? I would be open for it. And, what a great picture right here. Joe looks like an egghead. Jason looks like an egghead. I mean,
And
come on.
Vincent Price as Egghead.
Yep.
Holy cow. Wow. And if you're looking for the first actual comic book appearance of Egghead, it is in Shadow of the Bat #3, as you can see right here. So please, I mean, for all you spec heads who are looking for Egghead, jump on it right now. Like and subscribe if you have not done so already. But this is an interesting story right here. We have a director now. So things are moving forward with a certain project here that people went crazy for during the pandemic. Joshua.
Yeah, so this is great indie news, honestly, too. We don't do too much indie news here, but finally we got some. Justin Lin, who is a great director known for action, Fast and Furious movies, all that. Well, he is going to be making a live action Berserk starring Keanu Reeves, the writer of the comic book based off Keanu's looks. It's about a warrior who has been around for centuries and essentially is working for the U.S. government. This book, honestly, in my opinion, like again, issue #1 has, I believe, over 60 plus variants.
It's crazy.
They
Crazy.
keep releasing tons of them. I know last year at Terrificon, some of our viewers got to meet Kiana actually and all that. So, I'm up for this. I love Keanu and John Wick, and he's just going to be a more badass John Wick, as you could look at it, who's just a seasoned veteran from the century. So, you know what? We'll see when this comes out, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm excited about this because we talked about this before, that when actors or even, any of the creators, part of the, production team has a passion for a character, they really, it's in good hands, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, Keanu Reeves has a passion for this character because he was part of creating it. To see this moving forward on the big screen, which is probably a big deal of why things moved forward with the comic book, I'm excited for it. I want to see it. I didn't read Berserker. I saw how many variants and all the hype around it, and it just didn't make any sense to me in terms of the hype of everybody going crazy for these variants, which aren't worth that much right now. It doesn't mean they won't be, but I'm excited to see this and to see him actually jump into this character that he created. I don't think he's been part of that before. And Justin Lin, that's a great pick for an action movie right there. So I'm really all about. I'm very excited about seeing this move forward. So yeah, good one on this, Josh. Good pickup.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think about Berserker coming to the big screens with Justin Lin as the director and Keanu Reeves. Moving on, now we're going to move into the rumors here. And I literally had a punch in the gut when I read this in your the news you wanted to cover this week. A punch in the gut, Joshua. So
yeah, so everybody is excited for Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Well, that might be pushed back a little bit. Marvel right now is considering delaying Doomsday. We know that they kind of, from what I heard on the back channels, they wanted to have the script in and done by March. They still want to make sure it's perfect. Obviously, this is going to be a film, just like how Infinity War and Endgame was. This has to be good. This has to be top tier. So it looks like they may potentially delay it back almost a year, and also push back Secret Wars as well. Honestly, if it does happen, I would be okay with it. I just want the best version of Doomsday that we can get. So we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, I agree with everything you say here, but like the anticipation for this, the hype that they were riding, the wave that they were riding from San Diego Comic-Con, RDJ's, return to the MCU. Come on, man. Come on. And, these guys have done this before, a gigantic ensemble, secrets on set, all of the stuff. The Russo brothers have handled it, marvelously. That was pun intended. However, it pains me, but I agree with you. Like, it's probably for the best if they're doing this because, again, they know what they're doing as much as it hurts. So that one, again, it pained me. But this one coming up is absolutely fascinating. By the way, before we move on, let us know what you think. Is it worth it if they delay, or do you want to be like, you know what, just push through and make it happen and have a crappier movie? Let us know what you think. By the way, like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Moving on, some more DCU news, but this is the rumor.
Yeah, so we know Clayface has been confirmed. We have a director now. We know it's supposed to start production sometime and shooting this year. However, if you're a Harry Potter fan, well, guess what? Our very own Harry Potter here may end up being our very own Clayface. Rumor is that Daniel is being eyed for Clayface. James Gunn did come out and, I wouldn't say confirmed it, but did say right now there's a list of actors and there's a possibility. They're not going to rule anything out. We'll have to see what happens. But I honestly love this choice. And, you're looking at his face and everything. And depending on how they want to do this, whether we're going to get the actual, Clayface that you see over here in the picture and he turns a big clawed, monster of clay, or if he's just going to be a more Coop Crusader Batman Clayface, where his face is disfigured and all that. We'll have to see. But I'm open to this. And, hey, let's get anybody and everybody we can in the DCU and just make some good films.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm down for this as well. He's a great actor. And I know people just think of him as Harry Potter, but he's had some antagonist roles. Most recently, I can't remember the film. It was with Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock. And he played just a complete dick. Like, he was amazing. It was so good to see him in a role like that. And again, Clayface is a bit more nuanced in terms of, I'm telling you guys, I say this every time we talk about Clayface, Detective Comics Annual 1. I love this read right here. The origin of Clayface. So again, more nuanced in terms of a character, how this vain character became to be Clayface. And I'm all about this casting right here because he's a good looking dude. You can see him playing that part of the vain actor who kind of falls in and needs to continue to look good and needs ways to do that. So I'm all about it. And hopefully this moves forward. And then hopefully we hear more about this next story right here, Joshua.
So this next story kind of ties in a little bit to Clayface, I think, because we did talk about this as a potential rumor. So James Gunn hints that the DCU Batman may appear in another project before Brave and the Bold, and he quotes, "I wouldn't rule anything out. He could show up in something else, but the actor doesn't exist yet." So, I mean, and in my personal opinion, we know that Clayface is coming. I believe it's been confirmed it will be set in Gotham City. And I honestly think that the best place for him to show up, and obviously, you don't want him throughout the whole thing, but maybe towards the end of the movie when Clayface is, finally, unleashed and doing his stuff, maybe we have Batman finally show up, or we get like at least some kind of mention of him. We'll have to see what happens. So, I'm honestly open for it. I don't think you need Batman and Clayface. I would like a standalone film, but if anywhere he's going to pop up early, I feel like it would be a safe bet for that film.
Hey, I thought you needed Batman and Penguin, and that worked out just fine. So I'm all about it. It's an interesting story. I guarantee you, maybe he'll be in the background, Batman, and hints of him hearing things here and there, just like they did in the Penguin. So I don't care either way. I'm excited to see this character on the big screen. I like what Heroes Reborn was saying, that the effects will probably be more like a Venom, kind of like Clay instead of the Venom goo or what have you, the symbiote. Who knows? If it could be that monstrous character we've seen not only in the Batman the Animated Series, but Creature Commandos, right, Josh?
Yep.
So that was pretty much the first appearance of Clayface in the DCU, James Gunn and Peter Safran's DCU. So hopefully we get a little bit of backstory to that. And
just note too that there are multiple Clayfaces.
I agree. I know. I know. And he's supposed to be playing the one, and I cannot remember his name, but it's the one on that cover that I pulled up, or Detective Comics Annual 1. He's playing.
I believe it's Basil.
Basil. It is.
Yeah. Well, he's the original Clayface. Name, Basil. And then in the 70s, we had Matt somebody, I forget his last name, but he became the actual Clayface that we know.
Yes.
And then the animated show mixed, Basil and that origin together. So
either way, it's going to be interesting. But the Batman, again, we got a hint of the Batman in the DCU on Creature Commandos. Just a quick shot. Dr. Phosphorus, I guess it was his origin. So I'm excited. Everybody's on the edge of their seats. We all want the dude from Reacher. What's his name? I cannot remember his name.
I'm drawing a blank.
The guy from Reacher. He's jacked. Anyways,
let us
play Batman.
Alan Richardson.
That's the guy. That's my guy. I
want
to see him.
He also played as Aquaman in Smallville, and he played in Teen Titans as well.
He wasn't as jacked. So
yeah.
Anyways, all right. So let us know who you want to play Batman in the DCU universe. And to tie things up nicely with the news right now, we are going to give our Daredevil review. I mean, the season just started this week. 2 episodes dropped. And Josh, I'm going to let you go first. You've been dying to talk about it.
Okay, so 7 years ago, Daredevil season 3 hit, and it was literally within a few days or a week. Netflix came out and said, "Hey, we're going to cancel the show." It blew expectations out of the water. I think it was a 97% Rotten Tomatoes score, high praise for it, one of the best shows ever, right? 7 years, people, hey, if we're gonna get, Daredevil in the MCU, let's bring back the cast and everything. It took many, many years. No Way Home comes out. We got Charlie Cox back as Daredevil. Hawkeye comes out a few years later, a year or two later. And then we get Vincent back as Kingpin. And then from there, we get the announcement that, hey, we're getting a Daredevil show. I'm going to put it like this. The first 15 minutes, literally clock it, 15 minutes up until the very opening credits was perhaps some of the best acting, the best action, and just storytelling I think we've ever had in the MCU throughout all projects. That first episode, the acting between all characters involved was just phenomenal. Charlie is an amazing actor, has amazing range, and you can feel it in his emotion. He's raw, he's yelling, he's screaming, like you can feel it. There's a great scene that reminds me of the dinner scene or the diner scene in Heat, where Robert De Niro and Al Pacino sit down and they have a sparring match a little bit. Well, Matt and Vincent also do that in the show. Not a spoiler because we've seen it in the trailer 100 times now. And it's just phenomenal what they do. I have to say, I think from my understanding, a lot of reviewers have already seen every single episode. And a lot of people are saying this will be going down as the best Marvel television show we've ever had. It beats out Loki by a high bar. And also hearing it's probably the best project that we've had since Endgame.
Wow, so, that's quite interesting. That's high praise. I'm gonna kind of piggyback on what you said. Like the filmmaking, this was like a film. The filmmaking was outstanding. The production aspect to it, outstanding. The performances were outstanding. The lighting was outstanding. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to tell you what shot that you need to look out for. That is the last shot of episode 1. I'm not spoiling anything here. It is beautifully lit. I am just telling you, it just brings out raw emotion, and the way it's done is just so effective. I loved every minute of this series. I loved watching it with Alicia, who had not seen the Netflix series, believe it or not. but she was into this. And that's a positive thing that people really don't need to look back on what it was. I tried to have her watch a review. She's like a YouTube review or a rewind. It was just, she's like, let's just start it. It was great. She loved it. She's ready for episode 3 coming out this Tuesday. I cannot recommend this enough. You know, Joe went as far as saying that Daredevil, the Netflix series, was the best television Marvel has ever done. Yeah. I'm going to go with whoever said that, whoever you heard this from, Josh. I'm going to go with that as well. This is going to be, if they keep this up, this is epic. And it is outstanding filmmaking, outstanding storytelling. It makes you feel. It really makes you feel. And kudos to the whole team. And the fact that they took a chance by cutting all of that production time. What you said, it was a few months of production, of shooting. They said, scrap this. We're doing another direction. Kudos to them. I don't know what it was before, but right now, it just seems like they made the right choice.
From my understanding, they were about 6-7 episodes in.
Jesus.
Now we are about to see some footage. There was a lot of footage that they shot that they are using, but I'm going to give you a rundown pretty much. So originally in the script, Karen and Froggy were not in the season, were not even mentioned. Again, it was going to be a soft reboot from the show. It wasn't going to be a continuation. We weren't going to see Matt actually get in costume until episode 3 or 4. Like, it was literally just going to be him being a lawyer throughout the first few episodes. And I heard, like I said, they did a 360 turn, no pun intended, maybe,
It was 180. But if they did 360, they'd be back where they started.
Okay, they did a 180, right? About maybe 190. Well, still, they did a course correction. They realized what they were doing was wrong, and we got that in the first episode. We literally pick up right where season 3 kind of ends. Probably a bit of a time gap or time run, obviously, but so I'm glad they did what they did. Man, I just bringing back a lot of the original cast, and there's still going to be some. I don't want to call it surprises because we've seen them in the trailer, but there's going to be some, original cast members from the first 3 seasons that will continue to pop up. We have a bunch of new cast members in play. We have this interesting storyline with the White Tiger, which is actually, a part of the storyline in, I believe it's Charles Soule run of Daredevil, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that.
I can't back you up. I haven't read that run, but yeah.
There's definitely an angle in there, and I can tell you this right now. I know where they're setting the show up, and I know where we're going, and I know where we're going in season 2. Not even without rumors. I just can see what they've already planned in the first 2 episodes. And I'm telling you this right now. I think at the end of this and the end of season 2, this will be the best television show Marvel has ever produced, and I think probably the best content that we've had released since Endgame. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be insane, and we're going to get some casting announcements probably in the next couple months as they start filming season 2, which is currently underway. So expect big things if you're a Daredevil fan.
That's right, and expect Josh to always bring you the news right there. Let us know what you think about Daredevil season 2. If you are actually the Disney Plus season, if you saw episode 1 and 2 already, let us know what you think in the comments. No spoilers, except for this one. I have to do it. I am so sorry, but Derek, it was in the chat already. Daredevil spoiler alert: Galactus appears, played by Taylor Swift, and is immediately killed by Sacha Baron Cohen's Mephisto using Jeff the Land Shark. Dazzler was there too, also played by Taylor Swift. She's playing dual roles there. So. Derek, you ruined it for everybody, but it's still worth a watch for everybody there. Joshua, again, you killed it with the news. You always crush it with the news, but you're not going anywhere because you are the official co-host for tonight's episode. Since Joe is driving back from the convention we've been talking about, Elite Comics 11 this weekend. It was fantastic. Their first expo, their first convention. We were there. Joe was there. We were covering the whole thing. Like and subscribe if you have not done so already. And here we go. We're going to get right into the actual review. It was under review, Josh. You understand that, right? They had never done this before, so they had to prove it to us that they could pull off a convention and it was worthwhile going. So with that being said, please check out our review and see if it's approved. Welcome. We're here at the Elite Comics 11 Expo in Queens, New York, hours before opening. Comic fans from all over the world, like you and me, will be here. But is it worth it? That's what we'll unpack.
How did the Elite Comics 11 Expo come about? Well, we really are a community-powered page. And so getting the community together in one room with amazing vendors at data-driven comic pricing is really kind of the spirit behind the show, trying to create a new kind of revolutionary comic experience.
So I'm a big fan of the Elite page on Instagram. I know a lot of the dealers. I work with them. I try to buy and support. When I heard about the convention, I was like, I have to sponsor this. It's a great idea. I love the fact of bringing the virtual community together in flight. So Landry Pop, as an auction house, we work on consignment with collectors, people in the trade, to offer their items. We're on 4 different websites. High registered bidder amount. We're on Live Auctioneers, the valuable auctions on our website. And we work with people to sell their collection and manage their property. So purposely today we are advertising a section from the Paperboy collection, which was an original owner collection out of California. Includes a Detective Comics 27, recently came back at a 4.0, but actually more exciting in my opinion, the Detective Comics 31. It's a 7.0 off-white to white. It's the highest graded copy that will ever be offered publicly.
Let's see what they got here. Trash, trash, trash. Hey, Paul.
Can you just get out of here? Like,
my name's Cliff Lee. I'm the owner of Lost for Toys. We're based out of Long Island, New York. We've been doing quite events for like 25 years, so we've been around as far as all the East Coast. We dabbled in the West Coast. This particular one, we've been involved with about a year now doing live streams with Elite, so knowing that he was doing an actual physical show, 100% in.
The show has blown all expectations out of the water. I've had such a good time. I've sold a ton of stuff. I've bought a ton of stuff as well. Cannot wait for next year.
What is the #1 live show on YouTube?
Oh my gosh.
Dude, seriously, we were talking about this. It's Comic Book Canon. Just say Comic Book Canon for me.
Wait, what?
What is the #1 show on YouTube?
the #1 show on YouTube, Comic Book Canon.
What's the #1 show on YouTube?
So to be fair, I don't know any shows.
I just need you to say, no, stop. I need you to say Comic Book Canon. Can you do that for me?
Comic Book
Canon. You should know the show. It's the #1 show on YouTube.
Canon, right?
Comic Book Canon.
What's the best show? Hold on a second. I'm going to tell you right now. Comic Book Canon.
So, as you can see, it was a mostly positive experience here at Elite Comics 11 Expo. I have to agree. It's a really warm, welcoming convention. The fact that people don't know who Comic Book Canon is a little bit ridiculous. I question those people that were allowed into this facility. However, I do hope that they continue this for years to come because it's something that has a lot of potential. There we go. Comic Book Canon approved. Elite Comics Expo, Elite Comics 11 Expo. It was a good time. A lot of great people there saying hello to Heroes Reborn and people like that. Meeting people that you never seen their faces before. It was great. I helped Joe a little bit behind the booth. And yeah, again, lots of fun. And I do hope they continue this. I guarantee you that they will. Overall, I think for them it was a success. So Josh, your thoughts?
Yeah, Elite over on Instagram is just, they got some phenomenal people behind the scenes helping out, doing those shows. Both Joe and Paul are, important members over here, but they also important members of the Elite now as well. And it's always great to see a new comic expo happen, especially when it's heavily comic focused. I mean, some people might have some toys or pops and stuff, but, I prefer the good old Comic-Con with just comics, and it looks right up my alley. And hopefully next year I'll be able to make it and have a good time with you guys. So I'm happy they did it, and I'm sure it was very well received. And like you said, I'm sure it'll be continuing to happen every year.
Yeah, one criticism I do have is Big Brain Bill was saying that it was all data-driven sales. I'm not sure how that worked. Again, working, at Joe's booth, Joe has a way of pricing things. So I don't know if it was across the board that people think that everybody digs into this data and sells it that way. It was a normal convention, except the fact it was very community driven, which is cool. Those are the best types of conventions right there. So again, very successful showing there for those guys. I'm very happy for them. All a good bunch of people, and meeting a lot of cool people like Cliff Lee, like Taylor, Landry. Yeah. Sorry, you wanted to jump in.
When you mean data driven, you mean people? What exactly did you mean by that?
That's what they said, that it's data driven sales. I don't know what that means. That's how they advertise it. Again, that's one criticism I have. Maybe John, aka Heroes Reborn, can chime in on what that was. He was there. I think he's the only one else that was there in this chat. But yeah, I really can't tell you what that was. So
okay.
And Big Dog Pound, I don't think I've seen you in the chat before. Big shout out to Allie Bill and the team Elite Comics. They created such an awesome community in Expo. So Big Dog Pound was there as well. Again, if you have any kind of insight as to what the data-driven claim is, I don't know. But that's the only thing I'll say. Like, everything else was great. People were super nice.
I mean, it's just interesting. I've never heard people like go to a Comic-Con and say, like, data-driven. I'm assuming they're talking about like current pricings based off of
I don't know. I think it's
stuff,
basically everybody there. Everybody there is just a very chill, cool seller. There are people from all over the country there too, which is very cool as well. So
that's awesome.
Community driven, a lot of fun. Nucking Futz, great name. I've been a buyer on Elite last 3 years, but recently I feel the prices aren't as good as they were. I've even seen some sales today. People were paying over fair market value. I don't know. No idea.
Okay, I think I kind of get it now.
But I mean, either way, it was and here's John. I suppose data driven means they created a show the way collectors want it, using input from the actual community. And again, it was very community focused, very community driven, very easy to get into, free parking, accessibility, everything was there. They had some nice food trucks out there. I hope they do this again as a yearly thing. It was kudos to them. They put on a great event. If you have not already, like and subscribe, please do like and subscribe. We would appreciate it greatly. We are the #1 show on YouTube, as you all know. We will post that video up as it's standalone later tonight. So just be on the lookout for that if you want to watch it again. 21 million people watching right now. And we appreciate you. Truly. But
before we do that, Jeff, we also have a newsletter.
Oh my God. I forgot about the newsletter and we didn't do the featured episode issue.
I know. Well,
let's say hello. Let's say hello to some people. We got John, aka Heroes Reborn. We got Big Dog Pound #1. Jordan Norrie wants us to come up to the 3 Men in a Basement show in May. That's in Connecticut. It's a possibility. I'll see.
Yeah.
Spuds is here. How's it going, Spuds? We got paper and plastic shows every Tuesday nights. I believe 9 p.m. Eastern time.
No, not Eastern time, Western time.
It's 9 p.m. West Coast time? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Follow them, like them. They're great community members, right?
Yeah.
Dan De La Torre will be making it over soon. He says he's on his way. Raw Dog Comics in the house. We got Derek Neiman here as well. Goonish Lurker. Who else do we have? We got Kaboom Comics. Hello. Figure Drawing. Hello. Noob Comics in the house. Nikita Kare in the house. Oh, who else? Oh, what a wonderful T-Shoe. I'm one of the 21 million. You sure are. Love seeing you all here. As you know, we'll get to the featured episode in a hot second, but we do a series each and every week called Did You Know, about these little nuggets of comic book history. Joshua, did you know that Marvel almost bought DC?
I did not know that. That's very interesting.
You do now.
Did you know Marvel almost took over DC's biggest heroes? In 1984, DC Comics was struggling. They were so far behind Marvel, they had to take action. Everybody knew this, but nobody saw what was coming next. Time Warner executive Bill Sarnoff offered Marvel the chance to license DC's biggest heroes. Legendary characters such as Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the Justice League were all part of the deal. Marvel would publish their comics, while Warner Brothers kept film and TV rights. Marvel's editor-in-chief, Jim Shooter, was intrigued, but Marvel president Jim Galton didn't see the value in DC's characters. To him, DC's characters were outdated and unprofitable, not worth Marvel's time. Shooter explained to Galton that they were great characters, and that DC was just doing a poor job with them. Shooter felt Marvel could do much better, and it was a great opportunity. But after reviewing DC's sales, Marvel's management turned the deal down, believing the characters couldn't be profitable. As it turns out, history proved them very, very wrong. DC rebounded with Crisis on Infinite Earths, The Dark Knight Returns, Watchmen, and one of the biggest pop culture moments of all time, Batman, in 1989. Meanwhile, Marvel filed for bankruptcy in 1996. So, what do you think? Did Marvel miss out on one of the biggest opportunities in comic book history? Let us know in the comments. Either way, somewhere in the multiverse, Spider-Man and Batman are co-workers, fighting over who gets the closest parking space.
Did you know? Did you know? Did you know?
So now you know, Josh. Isn't that fascinating?
It's
What could have
interesting.
been?
Well, I was gonna say though, also think about this. What if Marvel did buy them, and then in 84 or 85 or whatever, and then a couple years later they still end up going bankrupt? We could have lost 2 properties, maybe. Well,
I mean, who knows?
you know.
Again, it could have been great. It could have been not so great. The fact, though, that they were like, I don't see the profit. I mean, and that guy, the guy that was running Marvel Comics at the time, I put this piece together yesterday and I cannot remember his name. Jim Shooter's boss, he saved Marvel in the late 70s from going bankrupt at that time, but he turned this deal down. So again, within a year, DC scrambled and they had Crisis, they had Dark Knight Returns, they had Watchmen, they had all of those strings of hits that really brought them back to prominence. And it's fascinating. But I think the way things worked out, it worked out the right way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So, by the way, just want to say hello to Caleb. Daredevil was amazing, but I don't want to spoil it for anyone. You better not, because that's not how we do things here.
Look,
We got Raising Elm. Howdy, y'all. And another banger from Raising Elm in terms of Fresh from the Comic Shop, which will be coming up right after this next segment that we have right now, which we totally do at the beginning of the show, and I forgot it. It's our featured episode issue. That is right. Our featured episode issue is Amazing Spider-Man number 217 with a glorious cover by John Romita Jr., written by Denny O'Neil, and interior arts is John Romita Jr. as well. And we have a face-off of Hydra Man versus Sandman. The next episode, or the next issue, they actually merge together and become this kind of Hydro Sandman, whatever it is. Dan De La Torre again picking another great issue right here. So Amazing Spider-Man 217 coincides with our episode 217. That's why we called it the feature episode issue. It really is a glorious cover there, Caleb. Again, it's so amazing to see John Romita Jr. and how his artwork has changed from when he began to try and be like his father, basically. And then he kind of morphed into his own look. At first I did not like John Romita Jr.'s work in the early 90s or late 80s, early 90s. I guess I wasn't, I don't know, too young for it or what have you. I've really come to appreciate it lately. I know people like to shit on it basically, but I don't think it's that bad. Josh, your thoughts?
I mean, you got to think, look, he comes in, he's got to follow his father's footsteps, and his father, arguably is one of the
He's
best.
an icon.
And he's probably like, hey, look, like you would expect a son such as him to come in and follow in his father's footsteps and do what his dad did. But at the same time, in the 90s, you're also like, hey, give it your own unique spin on it. Make it look a little familiar, but do something different. And that's what I think eventually he ended up trying to do. And, some artists are well-loved, some aren't. Some it's a mixed bag. But I don't think, some of his stuff isn't so great, but I don't think he's a bad artist. I think he does have some great stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's a bad artist either. Again, I just don't think I had the the palette for him when I was younger, when I was a kid. It just looked really weird to me and off. Now I appreciate
I also
it
think
a lot more.
it's probably the pressure too. You know, like I said, you're coming in following your father's footsteps, and you probably at times didn't trust yourself. And I don't know how close they were. I don't know if his dad gave him any guidance or help or anything. But also could have been where his dad's like, "Hey, you have my name. Go out, make it your own. You know, do your own thing." And he was unsure. So who knows? But
I mean, it's just seeing how he has evolved, though. It's really, really kind of incredible. So that is the featured episode issue. And right now we're going to get into Fresh from the Comic Shop. If you've not watched the show before, this is the crown jewel of comic book canon, where you can win prizes while showing off your fresh gets. Again, keep in mind, follow us on Instagram, tag us in the picture, give us some nugget of information about that issue. You know what? The song explains it way better than I do, Josh. So why don't we just let that play out, shall we?
Let's do it.
Fresh! Fresh from the comic shop. Your collection's treasures ready to pop. It's time to share, don't let it flop. Fresh from the comic shop. Take a shot, make it bright, give it style and flair. Show a book that's unique, something rare out there. Tell us why it matters, what's the story behind. Pull at our heartstrings and you'll surely shine.
Sponsored by Crafty Comics, where collections flex their style. Museum quality slabs and displays with 99% UV protection, because your fresh gets deserve the spotlight.
That's right. Fresh from the comic shop. You'll show off your fresh gets. Again, also keep in mind, give us something. I know, Groovy said it in there. His name is Groovy. Give us, a well-composed shot. Get creative with it. Think outside the box. Throw a unique book in there, one we may have never heard of before or seen. And also pull at our heartstrings. Tell us a story about what that book is. We have a lot of submissions this week that exemplify all of that. Now, Joshua, you'll be surprised to know, I didn't pick up one book at the Elite Comics 11 Expo. I don't know. I'm looking for 4 specific books, and nothing tickled my fancy. Is that a phrase? I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah,
but either way, you all know what I mean.
What are you looking for? What 4
I'm
books?
not going to talk about it right now because that's right. Fly from the pressing salon. I'm not going to get into that because it's, how we talk about what's your grail for 2025. They're not grails for me. They're my goals. I have 3 of them are big goals. One of them is not that much of a big goal. But we'll get into that down the road. It's not about me. It's about the community here. Mike Haggs is part of that community. Hello, kind sir. How are you? All right, Josh, we're going to get right into it. You have any fresh gets you want to show off? I know you do have a submission.
You know what? I mean, yeah, how many you want? I got 3 I can do.
You got 3. You'll show 3. Let's do that. How about that?
All right.
Let's first start off by we have our winners here. We got Mons Comics won in January with this beautiful Predator. We got Dr. Plagueis with this Green Lantern as well for our February winner. Again, we have our March Madness coming up where you not only win, you have monthly winners, but you have a yearly winner, a big book of the year, courtesy of Spider Dude and EGS, as they are still with us. So we'll have more information probably next week on that. So keep a lookout for that because we have to release the brackets, Joshua, just like the final or the March Madness brackets. All right. So first up, we do have Dr. Plagueis, and it looks similar. If he hadn't won in February, this probably would be considered one of the ones. Well, I would definitely consider this for sure. Dr. Plagueis here again with some amazing submissions. Get off this earth, Hal Jordan. There's nothing quite like finally getting that cosmic accurate figure to pair with the book I've been long wanted to do a pairing for. A conversation I had so often is I wish they'd make this character. And I specifically remember saying that about Guy. They made Kyle Rayner and Simon Baz before him. After several months long hunt for him, hitting Target and Walmart daily some weeks, I found him yesterday, the day before my birthday, allowing me to post today on my birthday. one of my books, one of my favorite books and favorite fandoms. I've been such a Green Lantern fan from farther back than my memory goes. McFarlane Toys really did a great job with this guy. I had a body swap for the comic accuracy. The normal version of him has his leather jacket look. As mainly a comic book fan with minimal interest in the movies and shows, I really appreciate when these big manufacturers scratch the itch off the comic book lovers. Tons and tons of new figures reveals from all makers. I'll have my second random Shake book review and much more on Paper and Plastic Show tonight at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. I swear it's okay. So 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. I thought they were Tuesday nights, but anyways, follow Paper and Plastic Show right there. Josh, what's your first fresh scout of the week?
Yeah, let's do it. This is kind of a big one. I picked this up a few weeks back from our good friend 360 Comics. This is Action Comics issue number 340. First appearance of Parasite, a villain that I kind of am specking on a little bit. There's been a couple of different variations of the character, especially with two twins also being Parasite. And this is about a 4.5 to a 5.0, so probably end up maybe sending it in and get graded at some point. But some nice Silver Age action.
That is a nice looking book right there for sure. Great pickup, Joshua. I appreciate that. I'm sure other people do as well. You are the DC guy, I have to say. Moving on, we got Kate's Comics. Kate is all over the place in terms of what she likes, and this is another one of those. Buffy the Vampire Slayer from 1998. Shout out to Spud Comics, this wonderful issue. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is my hands down favorite show of all time, and the comics have lived up to the hype. I remember watching through the series via Mega Video in high school, waiting roughly 50 minutes to be able to watch another episode on the website. You wouldn't steal a car, PSA be damned. Be sure to check out Lexi's claim post. That's Lexi is Spuds for some rad books and hang in on her next live sale. You also have a couple of days to join her for 1,500 follower giveaway. Why don't you follow Spuds Comics, please, people? Well done right there, Kate. Well done indeed. Joshua, your second fresh get.
All right, so some Daredevil. Chip Zdarsky, I want to just point out and say that Chip did a phenomenal run on Daredevil, and this is issue number 16 from his volume 1 run. It's a great cover with Matt and Elektra, and this is actually a bit of a sacred issue, you would kind of say, because I believe there's less than 14,000 copies were ordered. If I'm not mistaken. So it's just a great cover. And, I wouldn't mind having my own personal Elektra one day.
Is your girlfriend around right now? I hope she didn't hear that. Anyways, moving on. We got Mark Leneker, always bringing really unique things here. This is no different. Luamo Ragno 91, Amazing Spider-Man 299 and 300. One of the best known foreign comics with the cover many prefer over the original, and it looks great paired with the next issue, by the way, right here. There's no escaping McFarlane's iconic imagery. We're caught in its web. I mean, for sure, McFarlane is an icon. These issues, again, so similar to the US versions, but much different. Look at it, how it looks. So, that the 300 looks amazing on that black cover. So, Mark, those are some nice books right there, I have to say. So well done. Thank you for sharing those. We got Comic Demon up next. Big issue when it first came out, the introduction of Negan. Man, I remember reading this with my girlfriend. I got ahead of her, and the noises I was making was making her nervous. Brutal issue for a lot of us Glenn fans. So being a completist is in a series can be rough, especially when they reissue your series in color with multiple covers. Holy fake, F-E-C-K. Yeah, I mean, we all know what happened to poor Glenn, and it didn't make it any easier when we saw that on the screen.
It literally killed the show when they did that.
You think so?
Oh, come on, man. Ratings went down.
I know a lot of people that stopped watching, for sure, yes.
But the thing is, a lot of people, too...
Hold on. Time out. Alicia is stuck in the laundry room. She's not happy I said that. Hold on.
So, I'm just gonna sit here and look pretty. If you guys got any questions,
Everybody
feel
say
free to
hello, Alicia.
put them in the chat. Maybe
You
I
got
don't
stuck
know.
in the laundry room. She got stuck in the laundry room. I'm not even kidding. She
Unbelievable.
got stuck in the laundry room.
How does one get stuck in the laundry room, Jeff?
I don't even know. She couldn't open the door. I'll have to ask her later. Maybe she'll hop on the channel and let everybody know. They're wondering why you got stuck in the laundry room. Anyways, that's not part of the show, I swear. I'm sorry, Josh, I cut you off.
No, so I was just saying, a lot of people who even watched the show, me included at the time, didn't read a lot of the comics, so they didn't know about what was
right.
coming, and people knew who read them, and other people didn't, and they feel like they felt like it was just for shock value. Come to find out, no, it's based off of the comics and happens the way they did, and I still watch the series. I think I stopped watching season 9 when they supposedly killed off Rick, because at that point there really was nobody else left from the OG cast really, and they made some stupid decisions like killing off Carl when it was literally that's in the comics. That is his story. He is the future generation. But I mean, we could do a whole episode on that. So
absolutely, but they still had strong ratings. I'm telling you, they still had strong ratings.
No, they did, but it wasn't like what
it wasn't a phenomenon like it was.
I think that episode, season 7, episode 1, when Negan kills Glenn, I think that was like over 17 million viewers or something, like the highest they've ever had. And then I think seasons after that were in between like the 6 to 9 million range, which is still good for a show, but they never reached the high again. It dropped.
Right.
So, no.
Well, it's crazy. I'm glad Comic Demon got us to talk about that, because that takes us back a little bit, quite a few years ago. So moving on, who do we have, Joshua? We got real Caleb Leland, aka Cable Leland, right here. Josh, you'll love this one right here. It has been a heck of a week at work with 2 snowstorms, but I'm with everyone. But I'm here with the Fresh from the Comic Shop and this amazing variant for Batman: The Last Halloween, issue 5 by Rob Liefeld. Sure, everyone is taking their shots at the guy, but I have respect for him. With no formal art training, he went from working at Marvel to being one of the founders of the best-selling indie company Image. And I have to say, I love this cover. Batman looks threatening and Joker looks absolutely frightening. Have a great weekend, everyone. And as always, much love. I love this submission right here. I love everything he's put together. Rob Liefeld, I'm not... You being the bigger Batman fan, Josh, how do you feel about that cover?
I like it. I'm going to do a bit of a hot take here. So Tim Sale, rest in peace. I love some of his artwork. I don't like his Joker though all that much, especially with the teeth. Something about it, man, that just kind of looks off to me. But but I still think it looks good, and it's a good, these covers that we're seeing are paying respects from all different artists that are paying respects to Tim. So I think it definitely looks like his artwork and a great, a great in memory of him. So
yeah, it's okay. It's not my favorite Liefeld cover by any means. I do like some Liefeld. I'm not sure if I like his Batman. So please don't take offense to that, Caleb. I love you. Nonetheless, I hope you feel the same about me. Moving on, we got Kaboom Comics. You love this one, Josh. Back in 1962, one of the greatest creators, two of the greatest creators, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, created this amazing villain who has gone against everyone. Dr. Doom. Here's my fresh get of the week to reflect on how awesome this villain is. This is Red Hulk #1, the Red Hulk reflection on Doom's mask. Goes very nice to my Daredevil number 38. By the way, great connection right there. That looks so amazing. Daredevil reflection on Doom's mask. Remember, comic book fam and community, to tag your fresh gets and tag our good friends over at Comic Book Canon, fresh from the comic shops. Join in the show every Sunday for an awesome show by the crew at the Canon. Always love that you plug us. Thank you so much, Kaboom. Really appreciate it. Yo, this book, when it came out, it was hard to get. This is what, 2 weeks ago or a week ago, this Hulk book. But that cover, man, it's amazing. And I love how Kaboom has put those two together. They're very similar, the Daredevil one and the Hulk one. So well done right there. Josh, your thoughts on that cover?
You know, Doom covers and books, whether they're brand new coming out currently right now, or they're from the past, or always hot, because we know the news and everything. And I will say, I do love the reflection of having Hulk in Doom's face as well, or in the mask.
So
I just think
good.
that's great. So yeah, love it.
I mean, again, I can't get enough of that cover. It was selling for quite a pretty penny, so I'm glad you picked up a copy there. Kaboom. Next up, we got Raising Elm talking about Daredevil. Howdy, comic fam, as if I was influenced by the devil himself. I recently had to pick up this facsimile copy of Daredevil issue 1. Don't judge me too harshly, but I've been a hardcore Daredevil fan ever since the Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner film. In a recent interview with Charlie Cox, he speaks on the duality of Daredevil and Matt Murdock and how they cannot coexist. That's an interesting take, by the way. I feel, as I'm sure most of you do too, as collectors, we too struggle with a similar thing, especially when we spend late nights scrolling eBay for Grail issues only to leave them in our carts for months. Do we listen to the voices of reason that tells us we have other responsibilities, or do we give in to the urge? That dopamine-driven desire to fill that aching empty spot in our PC. Well, I say thank goodness for facsimiles. Yeah, I'm sure your family is happy with that as well, because paying for Daredevil #1 is, it's much more than the $3.99 or $4.99 you pay for this one. That being said, this is an amazing. Everybody take note. This is how you do it. Raising Elm does it day in, day out. Every time he submits, it's something special. This is thinking outside the box in terms of a well-composed shot. And it pulls at the heartstrings. It's a great story, and I love how he elaborates on the duality of Daredevil and Matt Murdock.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. His first love, or his first introduction, was the Ben Affleck film. Not the best film. I don't think that film deserves all the hate it gets. I think it's decent. But okay, all right, maybe that's a hot take right there. Okay. But anyway, great submission. And I need to know if he was in a real church. And if he did anybody say anything to him when he pulled out a copy and he took a picture? And I will also say, Justin, if you're ever looking for a Daredevil one, Joe ends up last year, man, he found like 4 or 5 copies of it throughout the year. So,
Crazy.
maybe hit him up if you got a couple grand and want a low grade copy.
Yeah, my question is, was service going on then too? Like,
Well, that's what I'm saying, because I'm looking at it, and I want to say he's in a legit church, but he could have
for
made
sure.
it. But
I mean, for sure. Look at this. Yeah.
The best part would be like if behind him and the camera, the pastors is up there, talking about the devil walking amongst us and everything.
I mean, he's even got the lighting down too. He's, the book is perfectly displayed against that backdrop. Justin, man, great job. You know who else did a great job this week? You. I like the submission, Josh. You are not eligible to win anything, but here we go. This is, again, how you do it. Batman 66, the lost episode issue #1 in 2013. DC decided to bring back the classic Batman 66 title. It would give us over 30 issues of brand new stories set in the Adam West Batman verse, and would also do a few different team up series as well. The lost episode issue was based on an episode that was supposed to shoot for the original series back in the 60s, but sadly it was canceled. This episode was going to introduce Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face, and the actor who was set to be cast was going to be a young Clint Eastwood. With a phenomenal cover done by Alex Ross, we finally get that long-lost episode. Enjoy this great fresh from the comic shop and a little bit of history featuring Batman. Guys, again, that's how it's done. Josh, I mean, you're an insider. You know how it's done because you're part of the show. But that is very well done. So I'm not going to ask you your third fresh get just yet, because we're going to move on to Nori Jordan. And it is Thunderbolts related. A couple of months ago, I was excited to hear a new Thunderbolts series was coming out as part of the new Emperor Doom storyline. I gave my local comic shop plenty of notice so they would order me copies, but for some reason, I had a feeling I would need a backup plan. When I arrived on New Comic Book Day, I was informed that the owner forgot to order any comics that week. What the hell? This could have been a tragedy, but a tragic day. But when it comes to Thunderbolts, I leave nothing to chance. I had a plan A, plan B, and plan C. So I ended up with 3 direct copies, 1 variant, 3 1 in 25s, and 2 in 150 variants. My favorite is the 1 in 50 Virgin Songbird cover. She's the most consistent member of the Thunderbolts team throughout all of their various teams and series. Originally known as Melissa Gold and Screaming Mimi, this character grew as a person and superhero to become one of the best Thunderbolts leaders. I can't wait to see her role in the new series and hopefully many more to come. Take care, everyone. Nori, man, we love you. And this is amazing how he covered all of his bases, Josh.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I think it's like he has to be the known collector of Thunderbolts in the world, right? I mean, like,
I don't. He should be.
I mean,
He should
what
be.
he
He
needs
should
to
be on the
do,
red carpet of that film too. By the way,
he needs to like. Well, I'm thinking he's gonna get into the red carpet. He has to,
yeah,
but he needs to
yeah.
like. He needs to make a video, a documentary, something about his addiction to Thunderbolts, because I don't think anybody has more copies of Thunderbolts 1 or variant covers or anything related to Thunderbolts than he does.
We should maybe start some sort of campaign here. I'm not sure how we can do that, who we can get in touch with, but get him on the red carpet as our correspondent. That would be amazing. And I love this new nickname, Nori Bolt. Nori Bolt is fantastic. Jordan, oh my God, that's great. By the way, Nukes, the local comic shop owner has one job. He forgot to order comics that week. Are you kidding me? I'm upset for everybody that goes to that comic book shop. All right, this is a great submission right here, by the way. Where are we? Okay, actually, why don't you show off your third fresh get of the week, Joshua, before we get to our last submission?
Yeah, so, Batman fan here, you could probably tell from the background, and we're going to keep running with some of it. This is a great copy of Batman issue number 368. And this is when Jason Todd officially becomes Robin, has approval from Bruce, and I just want to say, man, I love this cover. I think the colors pop on it. It's a beautiful book. I want to get a 9.8 of this. This is not a 9.8. It has a few baby ticks, but it's probably definitely in the Neo Mint range. But still, it is just a great classic issue. I know some people hate on Jason Todd. One guy supposedly called in like 10,000 times to get him killed. That's the rumor going around. Did you know? If not, go check that out. But yeah, so I love this copy. I love this issue and the cover, and glad to have it in the collection now.
Yeah, that's a great one. I wish you had it last week for our Did You Know, which you can catch on our YouTube channel, which you're watching right now. But we have we have all of the Did You Knows. We have a playlist of those, so go check that one out. It's very interesting, actually. I love that book too. Great cover, and glad you have it in your collection, for sure. This right here, I love this submission right here. Scruffy Comics. Haven't seen a submission from Scruffy in a while. Hey there, Comic Book Canon family. It's your boy, the Immortal Scruffy, bring you this super cool Immortal Hulk number 41. This cool cover was done by Alex Ross. Not a key issue, but I think it's one of the best covers in this series. This cover is so unique to me. Why, you say? It's for a few reasons. Number one, love that it looks like the Hulk and the Thing are on a coffee date. Two, if you look closely at the reflection in the glass window, you could see the Thing's and the waitress reflection. But look at the Hulk's reflection. It's Banner. And the last thing is the waitress on the cover. She looks like my mom, who also worked as a waitress. Growing up, I was raised by a single mom. She had 2 jobs on the weekend, and she would wait tables to make ends meet. And I would go to work with her and sit in the booth like this one in the photo and read Hulk comics. Now, after 65 years of working, she finally got to retire. Thanks to Mom for all your hard work and for helping me get in comic books. That's what Fresh from the Comic Shop is all about right there. Yeah,
like,
right?
First of all, that is an incredible run. Alex Ross does all the drawing on that. I haven't read it yet. I want to pick up the Omniverse format on that and read that. But I love that cover, and that cover is so great, especially the detail to attention, not just, banner in the background and the reflection of the thing and the waitress. But if you look at the counter of the table, it's bending. If you look at the seats, look how bad the seats are getting destroyed from these two. So yeah, it is a great cover. And, Alex Ross is always phenomenal. But that story, man, that's to have a cover or a story that can bring you back to your childhood and bring back good memories is just something that's near and dear to me, and something that I love about the timing. So I love that submission.
Yeah, for sure. And right there, that ends our submission. So it's only two of us on the show. Dan couldn't make the show, unfortunately. So you and I are going to have to do this on our own.
Ooh, it's going to be a tough one. Yeah.
I have, let's see, I have one. I have two. I have three. How many do you have, Joshua?
I've got three.
Okay. I'll go first. Just to take the pressure off of you. Kate's Comics. I love what she oh, wait, Kate is not eligible because she is in the semifinals. So sorry, Kate. So I still have three, though, because there was somebody up there as Mark Leneker. Again, love the pairing that he has here, as well as with the next issue, too. So yeah, so Joshua, what do you got?
Well, I will say Kate's was one of mine. So I only have two now. But I gotta say, man, Scruffy, really was a great picture and more of a great story that touched home. So
Joshua, surprisingly, that's one of my picks as well. So right there we overlap.
Okay.
We do overlap. I'll go for my other pick. This will be my third pick because I did pick Mark Leneker. I have Kaboom Comics. Again, I like what he did here. I think that's outstanding, especially pairing it up with that Daredevil book. That looks quite similar to the Hulk book. So yeah, that's my third one. So Joshua, what is your third one?
So mine would that's a great submission, but mine would actually be Raising Elm and his Daredevil and the Church cover here. I just love the lighting. I love the story too. And again, something that touches all of us collectors, inside, do we want to release that demon out, that devil out, and blow all our money in our bank's account or not? So yeah.
That is a great submission as well, and I think I may have overlooked it as my top three, but it is what it is. Okay. We have one overlapping one. The judge is in the chat. I think he's going to agree with this. It was pretty unanimous. Like Scruffy's Comics was the overlapping one, so I have to say, Josh, this is what moves ahead.
I think it's settled between us. I mean, if the judge wants to say something real quick, but. I mean, if we at least agree on one and we each have a few, like I said, Kate also would have been in the conversation as well. She was my number one pick, but since she's already in the finals, so yeah,
it is Scruffy Comics moving on to the semifinals against Kate's Comics. That will drop on Wednesday. The voting drops on Wednesday. Every Wednesday every voting is on Wednesday. And it's on our Instagram story. So please check that out. Yeah, the judge has ruled. Scruffy wins it. We're moving him on to the semifinals. All right. So right there, as Fresh from the Comic Shop ends, so does the show. This is a great show. Very appreciative of you all coming, new and old faces, virtual faces. Please like and subscribe if you have not done so already. It was an amazing weekend. Being at Elite Comics Expo, Elite Comics 11 Expo, really great gathering of a convention, and I really appreciate them hosting it. I appreciate what they built there, and I look forward to it growing more. We will have that review as its own breakout segment. We'll have it on the newsletter as well. Please click the link down below. Subscribe to our newsletter. It's a great way to get a condensed version of this episode and click all of your favorite segments for sure. I appreciate you guys as always. Like, again, these words probably get old to you guys, but time is our most precious commodity. And I love that we could spend time with you all. Joshua, how do you want to close out the episode?
I feel the same. You guys come in every Sunday night. Unfortunately, we just lost an hour of sleep today.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out. Even if you can't make it live and you're catching us on the rewatch, hey, we appreciate it. Getting to hang out with the community every Sunday night. Some of us have personal things going on and dealing with stuff, and this helps takes our mind off things and gets us in a good habit and a good mind of place. And I love you guys as always, and it's always fun, and especially your fresh gets. I love seeing the submissions. Even if you're submitting and you've already run, some of you guys still just bringing the fire and the heat. So much appreciated. And as always, we will see you guys on the next Comic Book Canon.
Yes, we will. Every Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. That's no different for next week. I do have to say that there are 5 Sundays in March, and we are going to be taking off the last Sunday in March. Keep that in mind, please. Again, be on the lookout for all the content that we drop. We got Monday. It's going to be Did You Know? Tuesday is going to be the pick of the week, which was not run this episode, but we will run it for this week, and we'll have the voting on Wednesday for our first semifinals of March. But until then, everybody, be good to yourself, be good to others, and peace.